I think that they intentionally make the job seeking process so extremely hard and difficult in the US on purpose. These days, a lot of these companies and organizations make you go through at least 2 interviews. I even want to say at least 3 at this point. I'm on this Facebook group for job seekers, and this one girl said that a company sat her through 5 interviews. They also made her do a project, and at the end, they ended up ghosting her. I had an interview the other day that was more than an hour. And I get it. I understand that people want the right candidate, for a role. But at the same time, this process is so unbelievably demoralizing. I don't think people really understand. And even when you're applying for the job, you don't just send in a resume these days. The resume needs to be aligned with the job listing. You need to incorporate keywords from the job listing onto your resume. Edit every single resume for every job. In addition, most of them even require a cover letter. The cover letter has to be edited for the job as well. And you
Well, first things first, ghosting. I hate that. I hate ghosting. I think that if a recruiter has taken the time to engage with you, HR personnel, hiring manager, whoever it is, has taken the time to engage with you. I think they owe you the respect to give you some feedback. At least say we're going to move in a different direction. We decide to go with a different candidate. If they can provide why, that's even better. But that's not realistic. Most companies aren't going to do that. Unfortunately, in this industry, they'll ghost you in a heartbeat. Sucks, man. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I think that they owe you the time. Yes, you're trying to get a new job. You're trying to work within their organization. Sure. But I think it's a certain level of respect, professionalism that should be displayed in these situations. And the further along in the process, if it's the first screening, okay, shoot me an email. But if we've talked multiple times, if we've had multiple interviews, we've gone to 2 or 3 interviews, I think it deserves a phone call. I absolutely think it deserves a phone call. So people, professionals in this industry, y'all got to do better. You got to stop ghosting candidates. I get it. You're busy. I get it. You have a lot of recs that you're trying to fill. I get it. You have a lot of conversations. Everyone's time is important. Don't take someone through this process and then ghost them. It's not cool. It's not cool. Now, to touch bases a little bit on, what she's saying about resumes, you're absolutely right. One big mistake candidates make is assuming they can make one general resume and use that resume for every single application that they submit. No, you tailor your resume. Now, you're not going to change a lot, but there's certain things that you did at a previous job, certain skills, certain responsibilities that you want to highlight for different jobs. So always go in and tailor your resumes. You should have 4 or 5 versions of that resume. You have them, then once you have them, you can just pull from. You can, all right, I'll get the sales resume, I'll get the ops resume, I'll get the tech resume, I'll get the, marketing resume, whatever it is, you'll pull that resume. But you should never have only one resume that you're submitting to every single job. Tailor your resume. And as far as cover letters, jury's a little out on the cover letters. I think once you get to a certain stage, sometimes they'll ask for for a cover letter. But in general, from a recruiting standpoint, most recruiters don't spend a lot of time reading over a resume, or should I say, a cover letter. They don't spend a lot of time reading over the cover letter. If they're going for trying to fill a role, they have 50 resumes for that one role. I promise you, they're not reading every single cover letter word for word. However, they still may make you do it anyway. Unfortunate, but that's just the nature of the beast. But they're generally not reading every single cover letter, top to bottom. Just takes too long. I mean, you got 50 candidates, for one role. Maybe they got 10 roles that they're trying to fill. Just too many resumes and applicants that they have to go through. They'll use the ATS system, the tracking system, to try to filter through some of that, but it's just way too many. And generally, they're not going to read every single cover letter top to bottom. So again, they may still ask for it periodically, but recruiters have slowly started to move away a little bit from so many cover letters.
You can't just repeat, responsibilities from the job listing. You actually have to add some personality. And so for a lot of people, even applying to one job can take 20, 30, 40 minutes, even an hour for some. Then you spend all of this time applying, and then you may or may not be called back for an interview. Then when you're called back for an interview, you have to go through levels, stages. It can't just be one conversation where they're checking the vibe, asking you questions to see if you know what you're talking about. You have to ask layered questions to them at the end of the interview, send a thank you letter. And at the end of all this, you may not even be given the respect of being told that you did not get the job. And the craziest thing is that when I lived in Europe, when my friends or my partner were applying for jobs, they just sent in their resume, their CV. Send in your CV. Depending on how senior the position is, you probably have 1 or 2 interviews, and that is it. And so I'm just thinking about why the process is so strenuous for America. And as usual, I think that this is not by accident. I think that they want you on your last leg. They want you to clamor. They want you to beg. They want you to suffer. Because if we're being honest with ourselves, none of this is really that necessary. A lot of these jobs are not rocket science. I would even say the average person is capable of doing the great majority of these jobs. And it's kind of crazy that people admonish other people who look for alternatives to this BS. Because who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't be looking for a way out after going through all of?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what she said. I don't know that it takes 3 or 4, 5 interviews to decide if you want to select a person. Let's say the first interview is for screening. Okay, great. Well, the second interview, third interview, you should, for the most part, know if you want to. The manager generally knows if they want to hire you at that point. So, going through 4 or 5 interviews, to some degree is not necessary. But again, they're doing it because they want to cover their ass. And you'll learn in corporate America, oftentimes, a lot of what we do is CYA. You want to make sure that if something goes wrong and the candidate doesn't work out, you aren't the only one on the hook. It wasn't an individual decision. You can say that, Mary was in there on the team, John was in there on the team. It was a collective decision, and so you're kind of covering your butt too. Also, going through the hiring process is an expensive process, and so if at all possible, you don't want to have to go through it multiple times. But again, going through it 4 or 5 times is probably a little bit unnecessary. I'll just say this again, for all the HR professionals, all the hiring managers, all the talent acquisition professionals, got to do better. Got to do better. You have to respect everyone's time. We know that you're busy. We know that you have a lot going on. We know that you have a lot of candidates that you're going through. All respect there. But you have to respect the other person's time as well. And if you've engaged with them, you owe them that much respect to send them an email, to give them a call. If you've talked to them 4 or 5 interviews, give them a call. Give them a call. It's the right thing to do. But let's stop ghosting these candidates. Let's do better. All right. I love to hear you guys' comments. Thanks a bunch for watching.